man, look at that.
Let's see. That should
MLG is symbol.
should get me in here somewhere. Can you hear me now, Kaylin?
Or Caitlin.
If Thomas is in there, I can't hear him.
No, Thomas isn't in. He's here, yes, but he's not on the stream right now.
Now I can hear him.
I'll be behind.
You
the
can hear
scenes.
Thomas?
Yeah.
How can you hear Thomas?
Oh, I got on video first.
What?
There's only 3 spots.
I can hear you now.
Oh, you hear me now? Okay, I was about to say.
Just
All
put
right.
him like in the right hand
Yeah,
corner.
I got him.
Of fish. Like
You missed that?
We're gonna.
So put him in like the
picture
right hand
day.
corner. Yeah.
Oh God.
Yeah. Let's put Tom reporting live from the field. You know?
Oh God. Hang on, Thomas. I got you. Hang on.
You don't have to put me in. I could just be behind the scenes.
No, hang on.
No. You're going up.
No man left behind.
Exactly.
Browser. You're on your laptop, right?
Yes.
Okay. Make sure I threw this resolution in here correct. Heyo, the whole stream is Tom.
Yeah.
All Tom 24/7.
All
Like it.
time. All right, we're gonna square you up here a little bit.
I'm gonna put my favorite background on here. No, I'm just kidding.
No, no.
I'm not.
Jordan gets suspended off Twitch
There you go.
immediately.
Just get insta banned. All right.
We still I don't want to repeat it again in case you forgot, but we can't see anything in the Discord.
Oh, in the Discord? Yeah, hang on. Let me go back. I really think Streamlabs is what's causing most of the problems here. Let me stop that and let me start that. And then let me go
Lone
back.
Wolf by Harris Heller.
Yup. There we go.
That is a good song. Yeah.
Alright, so that's the one that's
There's
like
Tom.
live.
There's Tom.
You don't actually look like that in the live one, though. I don't know why it looks like that here.
Why is it so tiny?
Who, Thomas?
No, this little video thing. It's like so small.
We'll get to that eventually. Let's see. So I think we're all here. Now I got to build a 4-man screen. This is gonna be great.
You know, put me on top of Steve's face.
Just there you go. It's just...
Works for me.
Did you close out the tab, Thomas? There he goes. No, you're back. You're back. All right, cool.
Oh, I liked it.
Oh, there we go.
Now you can just say all the crazy shit you want, Steve, and it'll look like Thomas is saying. All right.
Time to frame them.
All right. I think we should be good to go at this point. What's going on, everybody? We got two.
Fire team
guests.
assemble.
Fire team is here. We got Badfish on the right. We got Thomas that is just, has assumed control over Steve's body over here. And we're here for some gaming news. And now we got a whole bunch of us to give us all our different takes. Are y'all ready for this, Badfish and Thomas?
Yeah.
What is it?
Special guest appearance. Let's do it.
Let's go. I have to add you into this next scene as well, Thomas. So give me just a hair of a second. Let's see. Where did it go? There it is. Boop. Whoop.
Wonderful.
Whoop. Whoop.
Beautiful.
Thomas is the podcast.
Yeah.
TOMcast.
He's just the P.
TOMcast.
Midlife Gaming TOMcast.
Oh yeah, TOMcast. There you
Heck
go.
yeah.
There we go. That works. That
Amen.
G's off. It's perfect. Gaming. TOMcast.
The
Heck yeah.
TOMcast.
Yes.
Oh, man.
We'll get a proper one built next time. All right, so first up in the news for this week. First off, actually, this is a new date. It's Tuesday. Mondays were getting in the way in a lot of different ways for a lot of us, so we just moved it to Tuesdays. First up in the news, though, is the new PS5 has a much smaller heatsink. Now, just to give a preface of this, it's only happening in Japan and I think Australia at this point, where a new kind of like hardware revision is coming out for the PS5 that I don't think has even been out for a year, right? but I assume that they're just having like parts struggling in the supply chain and everything on their side, and they're trying to make this the first console that they actually turn a profit on, which normally you lose a little bit on your console because you know you're going to make it up on the games. So they kind of wanted to flip the script on it a little bit, and I'm sure there's a couple of different factors that juggle in here. But it's getting a lot of bad press right now because it's gotten not great changes that are being made to it. Let's see. So the outside of the case looks exactly the same. The main differences that people are noticing is the thumb screw on the base that keeps it, in its vertical mount is a lot easier to attach and detach from the console itself. There is a different intake fan that seems to move more air, so that's a positive. There's a different Wi-Fi chip that people believe is supposed to be better, but there's just not enough testing going around right now to really validate that outside of like normal variants of internet speeds. But the big deal is that people noticed that it was lighter, it was about 300 grams lighter. So of course this started teardown videos on YouTube, and what we have in the back on this Kotaku article is from YouTube channel Austin Evans, which is where I saw this story first show up as well. As you can see here, the one on the left is the new motherboard for the PS5, and the one on the right is the old one. There's a significant difference in the amount of copper being used on the new one, or lack of copper being used on the new one, and it's almost all that 300 gram difference is just lost heat sink threads. So what is y'all's take on it? Let's start with Badfish first, since he's new.
Oh yeah, I mean it's kind of crazy that they would pick something that's so important as heatsink as the thing that they're going to cut costs with, right? That's how these bad boys break in the first place, when they get overheated and they're not the right spot. Like that's the number one issue that's going to cause problems with them, right? So if this was the way they were going to try to make a profit per unit, I don't know, man. It just seems like a silly thing to do. When you're on top of the console game per se, why change that model at all? Why make the product worse when you have the other revenue streams that seem to work really well?
Right.
And I think we even didn't say, online, right? That's another part, subscription-based model for them. All those different revenue streams to say, okay, now we gotta cut a heat sink in this to make a little bit more. I don't know. It just seems unnecessary for a company that's done it well, and would you'd say that they've done it the best out of the console group to make a silly change like this.
Yeah, it is definitely a weird, and Sony's not exactly being upfront on their reasoning behind it. I mean, they're not exactly known for being communicative, because even today, PlayStation Network, I'm not sure if y'all are aware, PlayStation Network is down currently. So if you're trying to play a digital title, you can't. I mean, that's just the nature of it right now. And there's been no word from PlayStation at all on when they're going to get it. And it's been down for like, a couple hours, I think, at this point. Probably 2 or 3 hours, and we haven't heard anything on them. I think the only scapegoat they have is shortage of materials. Not being able to get those materials into the factory fast enough is really the only excuse, in my opinion, that counts for this. Steve, what's your take? I see you shaking over there. Give me the shaky shake.
Let me compose my thoughts. So, devil's advocate.
Yes, I love it.
I work in supply chain.
Mm-hmm.
Costs have gone up dramatically over the past year, like literally double. I've seen ocean freight type stuff go from what used to be thousands to be tens of thousands. I'm sure some of it originally, because these aren't things that usually get decided within a couple months or anything like that. I'm sure originally it probably was a complete cost cutting measure. Like, hey, let's cut some costs, put some additional profit in there. But I think it might even be like an absolute necessity for them at this point. Like if they're bleeding money on every unit that's shipped because of how crazy the costs have gone up, especially copper. I can only imagine what the cost of that is looking like these days, just because it it has to ship in a specialized type of vehicle. So I'm with you guys on it sucks that it has to be this, but I think I don't want to call them evil for it because I don't think it was necessarily evil intended or was done with evil intention. I think it really might be like, hey, we've got to figure out a way to bring the cost down. This is bleeding us right now. And I haven't looked at their financials, but if they're anything like Microsoft, they don't really break out PlayStation into its own thing. I haven't looked, but that would be interesting to see kind of how that, if that has been talked about at all.
Yeah,
But I mean, it sounds like
would be
it
interesting.
has some improvements as well, right? With the better Wi-Fi.
Yeah, so
That's
the
nice.
Wi-Fi is the other thing that people are saying should be better because you can see the chip numbers on both of the units and
Yeah.
people can compare them online. Because I guess there was, what was it? I think Returnal was a game that was struggling with some weird network connection issue. Like you had to go disable IPv6 in your routers in order to really properly connect. It was the craziest weird bug, mind you. I mean, even from what I looked up on different places that people report problems with their PlayStations, I mean, such a small number. So I think maybe that could have been like, hey, you know, this chip already exists in this other thing that we make. Why don't we just increase it? It does the same thing. Why not? Thomas, you actually have a PlayStation 5, the old style one. Does yours currently get what you would feel like as uncomfortably warm or hot?
No, I've not noticed any issues with that at all.
Thomas, are you uncomfortably warm or hot right now?
I'm
Right
very
now.
uncomfortably warm and hot.
So
I just wanted to know what he'd be doing to know that it was uncomfortably warm or hot.
I mean, you
Well,
sit in
after
a
I
small
play,
room
I
long
like
enough
to
with it.
cuddle. I like to cuddle
Oh, yeah.
with my PS5 after a good play session. So.
PlayStation session.
That
There
was-
you go.
I'll be honest with you. I noticed my Series S, the new Xbox, gets
Mhm.
way hotter than.
Hey, we're not doing that on this podcast. We don't
Just saying. Just saying.
Oh, I know why.
trying to flame the console wars here.
So to bring up some stats about the temperatures, from Austin Evans' video, he did a thermal cam for the two different PlayStations on the.
Oh my god,
Oh.
they both look hot.
They both look very warm, yes. So the original one ran about 52, and this is, if you can't tell, it's the back of the PS5 where the exhaust vents are. And the old one registered at about 52 degrees Celsius, to where the new one registered about 55 degrees Celsius, which doesn't seem like that huge of a difference. But in Fahrenheit, that puts it at 125 degrees Fahrenheit versus 131 degrees Fahrenheit.
As a thermal cam expert.
Yes.
No,
Go
I'm
for
just
it.
kidding. They look the same.
They look pretty close.
Is that hot?
For a frame of reference, the Xbox Series X over on Windows Central had a similar test done to it, and around the top vent where the main fan is also about 125, 126 degrees Fahrenheit. So, I mean, it measures on par with the old one, but the new one is definitely getting warmer. And as Badfish said earlier, the longer that you allow it to be hotter, the greater risk of bricking or having some type of red ring of death issue like from back in the 360 era. So it's definitely
I'm just
something
gonna
to keep
say
an eye on.
it must be a very fucking slow news week for
Yeah.
people to be covering temperatures this in depth.
I mean, it's the PS5, man. People are looking
The thing
for that
is-
type of clout.
I
to
can
be
see it
first.
being a big deal. You know, and see, like, you know, to counter argue your counter argument, like,
The counter.
counter the counter. I don't know. I
Activate
just
my
hate when
trap
that's.
card.
I hate when those things are passed down to the consumer, right? You buy a product with expectations, and company sets those expectations. You know, sets a price, a fair or not fair price, but then it comes with those set of expectations, and if that changes mid production, and either it's hidden or not, and this one kind of seemed a little hidden. You know, I don't really have. I have some empathy for supply chain and how it would be affected by it, but I don't like it when that's passed on to a consumer instead, right?
Especially
Maybe
not
you
when
need
it's
to
not
maybe
told.
cut the CEO's pay a little bit to start paying for the right heat sink in the PS5s. Okay, power to the people, guys.
Oh my goodness.
Power to the players.
Power to the players, right?
Thomas actually reported live from GameStop headquarters right now.
It's the Am I laggy right now?
A little bit, but it's fine. You sound fine.
Here, if I just go like this. it
Yeah,
goes
you just
away.
wipe the screen. Just wipe the screen a little bit, and you'll be okay.
Oh wow.
So that's really all I had on that. I kind of side with Ryan too. Like if they came out and said, hey, to meet the demand in our Japanese and Australian markets, we've been forced to make X, Y, and Z types of changes. We did so much testing on it that lifespan should not be affected at all within expected margins of variance. But starting from today, model whatever, I think this is like 1100 something at 5, some weird model number now, will have these key changes on it. Just
Didn't they
to
say
make it
the temperatures
aware.
are similar though? Isn't that what they said?
I mean, 3 to 5 degrees is. I
So
don't know.
why do they-
I don't know. Would that make a difference?
Why do they need
I
to
have
come
no
out and
idea.
do all that? I just think it. I know I'm going to be the minority on this one. I think that's goofy. Like it, you don't need to do that for something like this. Like they
I
just
would
think of the
normally
company.
agree,
They
though.
put this thing through R&D. They didn't just say, "Hey, fucking make it smaller, ship it, and we'll deal with the shit later." Like they've put these things through thousands of hours of testing, and they said, "Hey, this is acceptable enough that we're not going to be," because they don't want to do fucking warranties and replacements and repairs either. So
Yeah,
I just
we're
think,
talking about
like I said, I
PlayStation.
think it's a very slow news week, which is why we spent 25 minutes
Oh, yeah,
talking about it. It's
probably.
very
Oh.
slow.
I don't think it was 25 minutes. We spent the first
It was-
10 just trying to get the stream up and running.
Okay.
The context.
15 minutes on temperature
All
conversation.
right, next topic then.
Next
Jeez.
topic
You've-
then.
Ooh,
Let's see.
this guy. This is how you guys run this stuff? Jeez.
Yeah. All right. So devs did for the Dead Space remake. We only got kind of a teaser with it last time we had heard
That
of
one
it.
looks good. The graphics look good on that screen. Right there.
These graphics look horrible, but it's proof that it is an actual from the ground up rebuild. This is not a reboot, or I guess they're calling it a reboot. This is not a refresh or a like what Mass Effect did for the Legendary Edition, which was combine the games into one package and just kind of beautify them and bug smash a little bit. This is a true from the ground up, and I'm sure they're using assets still from across the various titles. But this image alone from a video or a stream that they were holding about the reboot is very telling that this is a fully fleshed out from down up for this game to be remade, and I appreciate it because you feel, I don't know, it might just be me, but I feel cheaped out whenever I pay full price for a game 10 years ago, and then 10 years later they go, oh, we're gonna re-release it as an HD remake. Hint at the Legend of Zelda icon at the bottom right of this page. Here it's full price again. All we did was just buffer the images. It's great.
I was suckered into that.
Yeah, exactly. and you just feel kind of robbed by that experience for a little bit, because obviously devs deserve to get paid for their efforts. I'm not saying that, but I don't think that it's a full price type of situation to where in here I can agree. Like if I go to the store and I pay the new current going price of a AAA title $69.99, I'm going to feel like I got $69.99 worth of game out of it. It's not going to be just a nostalgia thing. There's going to be slightly new mechanics here and there. It's going to look a little bit different. It's going to feel a little bit different, but also at the same time, which is kind of that balance. Have who's played the Dead Space trilogy? Steve?
Nobody else?
Oh,
really?
I've played it.
I've heard good things about it.
It's pretty
So-
fun. So Steve,
The only one I
go for it.
really enjoyed was the first one. It kind of does that same thing as Alien Isolation, where it's not just some hectic action, FPS game. Like it really does use the atmosphere to drag you into the story. One of the things that they did before anyone else, I think this is the first example I ever saw of it, but like complete immersion. So you can see it here with this character. There is no HUD in this game. Like you don't have something that tells you, oh, here's your health and all this. Like that stuff on his back, like all the green lights and everything, like one of those is for health, one of those is for like your suit of armor, one of them tells you how many, when you actually pull your weapons up, you might be able to see it in that screenshot, it'll have like the ammo on the weapon. So
Yeah,
they did a good
it's
job of like making it a completely immersive experience, and it was good. But the second one went very much more into the arcadey style things. I still think it's a good series, and hopefully with them doing this remake, it's like hey, let me put my toe in the water and see what the interest is out there, and then hopefully they come up with like I think they have to fully reboot the series at this point after they do this, but they might have a way to tie it all together to where it makes sense.
Maybe.
I was gonna-
And
yeah,
this
bring
is
that
the
up.
new EA studio, that one that was kind of hidden for a while. What is it called? EA Motive.
Motive is cool. They were the ones behind Battlefront 2,
Right.
and they did pretty well with that.
Would you give this one another go? I mean, obviously it's ultra early to make that type of decision, but as of what we know now, would you be inclined to give time to it? Forget the money question. Would you give your time to it?
I give my time to it, yeah, because it's a full. If it was just a straight up remaster, probably I just avoid it because I don't like movies and games are pretty much like that. Like unless it's a complete masterpiece, I rarely rewatch a movie. To be honest, like I'll watch it once and that's enough for me. But a game or a movie that is a masterpiece, I'll play it maybe 2 or 3 times, just for the nostalgia of it. This one doesn't quite fit into that masterpiece category for me, so it would have to be pretty substantial of a remake.
I was gonna ask about replayability of it. Like,
I didn't
Yeah.
find any replayability from it.
right? So I mean, you kind of experience it one time. Is it really going to change that much for you? Maybe this is probably more for a new audience to, like you were saying, Steve, to say, here's a series. Is this interesting enough? See how it sells, and then see if it's worth. Because if they're tearing it down completely and rebuilding it, then they're going to have the right assets to do this again, right?
And I think in their developer preview that they were running this with, they even did make the statement that this is not really an attempt, but they are going in it with the mindset that they want to bring in new people into the Dead Space world. So I feel like if that's a major investment point for them, then Dead Space as a whole would probably be a solid reinvestment to constitute putting in second and third, or just throwing them all together. That'd be great, because that's what I wanted for the Mass Effect trilogy, was just like blend all 3 into one massive game. But that's an insane person's thought on it.
That's a bit.
Pretty cool. Did the people just change on the Normandy, like over time? All of a sudden you just scoot off, and then
Well,
5 years later.
From I think we had talked about this a long time ago when it was first announced that it was being rebuilt, Steve, or refreshed. But like, I wanted to see my main thing to tie it all together was I wanted to see like a single interface and a single like set of systems. Like the game obviously would play out in 3 different chapters because it's 3 different games. You can't get around that. But what you can do is build the interfaces and the menus and everything to all feel like it's one cohesive experience, not 3 disjointed experiences. The story's already going to be disjointed because spoilers, you're dead for a couple of years in there. You can't really get around that. You're not just going to watch yourself for a couple of years in the game like, oh, I don't know what happened, just end some Cerberus lab now. So that's more along the lines of what I kind of wanted from that. And it'd be nice to see if something similar happens in this. Thomas, why did you not play Dead Space?
I never got into it. I don't know why. I think I was more on a Resident Evil kick that year. I think that came out in 09. Remember?
Sounds about right.
09 had Resident Evil 5.
Sounds more specific than I know.
Hardcore on that. I will get on this though. If it's I will get on this HD remastered.
I'm gonna ride the train.
If you have Game Pass on either PC or Xbox, it includes EA Play, and all 3 Dead Space titles are on that.
I didn't know EA Play was on there. Okay.
Yep. It's like a
EA
basic
Play is part
version
of Game
of
Pass.
EA Play. So there's a couple of things that you still can't get through EA on it, but still, these
At
are
least on
included in there.
console. On
I like
PC,
scary games.
Origin gives you everything.
Right. All right, so let's see.
You say you don't or you do like
I
scary?
do not like scary games.
Too bad. You're gonna deal with it.
Oh
We're
man,
all
this,
playing.
at least the
But
first
you guys are all
one.
about scary games. I mean, everything you talk about.
Not me.
Dead Space, Dead by
not-
Daylight,
Resident Evil 8.
Dead by
Resident Evil 8.
Resident Evil. Like, you guys
my
just want to get scared all the time. I'm trying to play Stardew Valley.
Is there an award for worst game of the year? Just
Why?
because that's what I would like to give Resident Evil 8.
Oh, okay.
The
Most
Wow.
overhyped
Why is my
title.
camera
Wow.
so? This is the first time my camera's ever been laggy. So.
Wow. Game of the year.
yeah, worst game of the year.
All right.
Big
WG.
boob vampires. Come on.
Big move. The daughters were hotter than the mom. Just gonna say.
Anyway,
So the
And they
sun,
were
the
legal
sun is
age.
setting, and I'm
Next
getting darker and darker in
story.
this room as
next
we progress.
story. Starfield will have a pleasure dome where you can get super high on alien fish. How about that? So
Yeah, is it gonna have no bugs?
probably no. The bugs are a feature, Steve. The bugs are
My
a
God.
feature.
It's the Bethesda charm,
Yeah.
Steve. If you
Fuck
can't, it's just part of it. But
It's gonna have. What the fuck is this about?
What?
What,
Starfield?
Archie? What is this article about?
This
What?
article is about the 3, but we're gonna move it into something different. So what they did was they showed off 3 different videos of like 3 core cities that are here. They have New Atlantis, which you can see up on the screen. It's basically like a giant city that's like their political and military strong point of some group that we don't know about in there. We know the name, the what are they called? The United
The
Colonies.
Atlanteans.
But you know,
Okay.
this is all technobabble until we actually know the story to any type of degree. And then the second one they showed off was called Aquila, which looked a lot like, you know, Tatooine from Star Wars. Had that same vibe in it a lot. So that's, you know, that one, Star Wars ripoff area.
concept art.
Yeah. Oh, it's all concept art. They haven't shown.
Oh, I didn't see the. Okay,
Yeah,
I thought the
they-
first one was actually digital.
No, they haven't shown off anything. And then this place is called Neon, and it started out as a fishing dock until they found a fish that had hallucinogenics in it, and then they started selling that off for drugs, and that's just how the whole city came into a Las Vegas style situation. Lots of bright lights, you know.
This game sounds
whole thing.
unskippable.
Yeah.
Hi, fish. What?
Hey, I live in South Florida. It's like exactly how this place got started. So
That's what you learn. About. That's just Miami under the dock.
if you ever hear the term square grouper, that's what kept people around. So.
Oh. Are we allowed to complain about it yet? Or are
Absolutely.
we still?
Start. You go
Okay.
first.
Oh, I'm gonna
Well, it
defend
gives
it, I
a-
think.
Nobody gives a shit about this game. I'm kidding. I actually am. I'm only gonna say one thing. You know how I feel. I won't rant for too long. I am keeping my expectations for this so incredibly low. So low. Like so low. It's been so long since I actually have not really pre-ordered something that I'm interested in, because you know I do Green Man Gaming, so I get a lot of discounts over there, VIP points, all that kind of shit. So for me, that's the reason I pre-order. But this, I actually feel so hesitant to trust that this is going to be good, that this is one that I will wait for. I just don't believe Bethesda. I don't. Like, and you know me, I'm a sci-fi player before everything. Like, it's my shit. But I don't fucking trust them with this. I think it's going to be the same clunky old engine with a new slab of paint on it. I hope they prove me wrong, though, so I'll keep my
It's a new
expectations
engine,
low.
though, right?
We haven't heard. There's like no confirmation on engine. On
They
this.
said Fallout 76 was a new engine.
Oh god.
They did say that, and
Yeah.
it was absolutely.
Look at these
a lie.
trees! What was
So
that stupid ass song they played?
I'm a fanboy besides Fallout 76. So I would say that it's exciting because it's a new IP and doing something different. And we just spent a little bit of time about our remake and our remaster, and I'm so tired of that stuff. Like,
Yeah.
you know, I go back and play the same games all the time because there's not exciting new IPs, in my opinion, that I don't know, that haven't been worth it in a while. So it's easy to get excited about that, but I would say I'm with Steve on this, where
What?
I'm not gonna pre-order this game. I'm gonna wait to see what happens, and that's what I do with everything now. Everything. I mean, if there was someone who loved CD Projekt Red more than anybody, it was me. Well, you know, Witcher 3, loved that. I mean, just trusted everything that they do. The perfect, you know, everything that they'd say about a game being perfect, and we won't release anything unless it's absolutely polished. And then, I mean, I can't believe that I haven't played, you know, Cyberpunk. And I don't know if I will. I mean, it's pretty crazy. You can put your trust into a company, and then, I don't know, but I'm not going to, I guess, put my money there and pre-order and have that situation happen again. And it happens too much, I think, now. I don't know.
It really does. We've kind of, as a gaming community, allowed these AAA companies to just kind of do whatever they want because we're gonna buy it anyways type of situation.
Yeah.
And it's very I don't know, it's hard to say that they're doing anything wrong because it sells. That's the hard part. We have two distinct versions of gamers now, where there's the people that they just home in on an environment, a game, a genre, a something, and they don't care. They just will always pump money into that. And then we have the other set of gamers which view gaming as more of a, I don't know, like an art form, really, like a collection of art forms. And those ones, I would say the four of us probably more lean towards that, because I don't think either of us really sit inside of a genre or even a game too long. I think Ryan's probably the only one that does, and that's Stardew. And what's the other one?
I'd say probably Rimworld.
Rimworld, yep.
Crusader Kings 3. I mean, some of these strategy, Civ, right? So those type of strategy games, I can just replayability.
Warrior, you know.
Okay, exactly.
So it's really just hurting. Not even really hurting. It's just kind of disappointing, really, for those of us who do view the medium as more of a upcoming art form than just a strict way to get dopamine to your brain cells.
Yeah, I mean, maybe there's like a middle ground there. I think we created like the fun meter where it's like $1 per hour for like a game, right? Is this game worth $70? A lot of these new releases now, or $60. Like if I get 60 hours of it, I mean, and I enjoyed it,
yeah,
I think that's a good system, right? So, but if a game isn't great upon release, then I'll buy it at a sale, and maybe it's $30 at that point, and I enjoy it for that discount. I don't know. So I think you can enjoy a game in this cost model, but I don't know. I just think like full price, AAA should be polished at this point.
Absolutely.
Company that has like, I mean, they tons of resources. I mean, so yeah, I agree with Steve. It's a wait and see for me.
Speaking of,
I'm gonna have to turn a light on because the sun just set.
Yeah, go for it. Speaking of waiting and seeing and polish, Steve, you had a problem with the release date that we talked about earlier today, 11/11/22. So next year. What issues do you think they need to overcome by that point to make that release date more viable?
Yeah, happy to talk about it. Can we get Tom's opinion real quick on this one before talking about the release date?
Yeah. Tom, what you got? What you got for us? TOMcast.
I'm not a Bethesda person, so I really don't have any expectations. I'm gonna let Steve play this first, and if he likes it, I will play it. I'll buy it.
I promise you, I might be one of the last, unless they absolutely start fucking throwing up some videos that make this shit look. I don't even know if I would trust them, to be honest. I really don't. I think Are
you getting No Man's Sky vibes for this game?
No, actually.
No.
So I like No Man's. I didn't think No Man's Sky was as bad as people made it out to be at launch. Like there were things like their complaints were more like about like they showed off the best content is really what their problem was. It wasn't that they showed off fake content; they just showed off like the best scenarios of what's possible. With Bethesda, I think they completely frauded people with Fallout 76. Like I remember that E3 footage, like it looked like I don't remember they didn't show like NPCs and that kind of stuff, but they were showing off the engine and oh look, they played that stupid ass song. What is it, West Virginia?
West Virginia.
They're showing off the beautiful trees and everything, and so they've made people think like, oh, it's going to be a cool multiplayer experience, blah blah blah. Like they oversold that game to the point where I really think people were defrauded, to be honest, in that one.
Oh yeah.
Same thing with Cyberpunk. Like I feel like that was a defraud as well. Like there's a difference between, like we all expect online games to launch with bugs. You know, like we expect that. You don't expect that from a fucking single player game. Like who expects like, oh, it's just completely fucking broken at launch. You can barely play this thing. Like that was outrageous.
And then like, go ahead, Steve. I'm sorry.
Oh no, you're fine. And then like for it to still, dude, I still cannot recover my save file. Every time I log in, I'm still stuck in this fucking phone call. And the problem is like everyone's like, oh, just restart. But all of us here have full-time jobs.
Right.
3 of us have kids, you know. So to tell someone, hey, restart your save file after you've put in 30 hours, and not only that, it's not like a straightforward Gears of War type title where there's not multiple decisions. Not only do I have to restart, I have to try to remember all the little fucking decisions I made, which was the whole reason I was playing this game to begin with, was so I could get that customized experience of like, oh, I'm really immersed in this world. So anyway, I kind of went off on a rant there, but I I hope that they are really, the thing that worries me, just slide right into it, the thing that worries me about the release date is how are they so fucking confident over a year out? Like, how are they so confident that that date is the date that they need? Like, it seems impossible to me.
Yeah.
Like, like
Especially
I
if these are still concept and images and everything like that. So
yeah, like it seems to me just like a thing to keep investors happy. You know, like that's. But I don't even know. Like me as an, I invest in shit, and I don't care about what you're telling me about, especially in video games. I don't care a damn thing about it till it's like, okay, this is within like a 3 month release period, because then you really have a good idea of like, okay, yeah, this is actually coming out or not. But this far in advance, I do not get it. And like I said in our text group, like I feel like the only options you leave yourself when you do that are to put your people under crunch, which probably is going to result in an inferior title, or to delay the title, or just put it out fucking broken. So you have three of those things. Like you put people through crunch to get it over the finish line, you delay it again, or you just release it as crap.
or all three.
Yeah,
Or
exactly.
all three.
Or all three.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, it's fucking Bethesda, man. Like I feel bad for ragging on them so badly, but it's Bethesda. They don't have a good track record with their. What was the last flawless Bethesda game that came out? And I know they, not the arcane games and that kind of stuff, but in terms of the mainline Fallout, Skyrim series, like what was the last game that they put out that did not require a bunch of user mods to make it usable?
I would say that I don't know, but those experiences, were better than the bugs. I guess for me at least. I mean, Skyrim is a game I played forever. Oblivion was probably the first real true, I don't know, RPG that I had played, and I had played really just like sports games and stuff like that from like or multiplayer stuff until I got sucked into that world, and it just changed my whole gaming life, if you will. So I don't know, the content and the games were so good at time of release.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, 2011 was when Skyrim came out, or it's 10 years later and they're still releasing it. Yeah, that's the stuff that's disappointing to me as someone who plays mostly single player games, right? I'm not on online, playing multiplayer games. I'm looking for single player experiences and immersive ones that are character choices or character creation. That's the kind of stuff that pulls me into games for a long-term investment. I think there's a lot of people like me that like that. So these have all gone wrong recently, it seems, right? And I don't know, maybe it's the lack of multiplayer element that they try to attach to it, because that's now the driving engine of so many decisions, or the things that last forever, or even a game that I really did like Red Dead Redemption, where now it's all about online instead of like, why can we have a DLC or change the experience of, or extend the single player version of that game. Right. So that's my quarrel with gaming right now, is just kind of lack of really true single player experiences. So, but that's another rant tangent. I guess I'm getting on just ranting right now.
That's all we do every episode.
Every week we just get on and rant. The stories.
I was like, "Who's this guy? Why is he talking so much?"
Of getting us in here to just rant. Yeah. So I mean,
we should replace Tom over me now. Give him some more time. Yeah.
Thomas, you feel free to interrupt whenever you want. Just interrupt. So I don't know, over a year out is a long way to. So for those, I don't think I've talked about it too much, but I came from a software design background from my last position, and Steve hit it right on the head. The dates aren't set by the people that are actually sitting there coding, drawing, designing interfaces, gauging customer experience, that type of deal. Those dates aren't set by those people. It's the people that are sitting in the chairs above them that don't touch the code at all, that aren't directly responsible for the product. It's the C-level and the everybody between them that goes, hey, when do we want this to come out? Well, according to this, and this, we need it to come out by then. And then they just go tell downstairs, hey, it needs to happen by this time. Not get their feedback usually on we would like it around this time, but is that viable? Like, no one's asking if it's viable. They're just going, yep, we have to make it happen. It has to be that way. There's no one, I don't know. It's very rare to get any type of like senior development or senior systems architecture guy or girl to really stand up against that type of push, which results in crunch. So I think around probably 2 months prior to this date, we're going to get one of two things. We're going to get either another announcement that says, hey, by the way, it's actually not going to be 11/11 of this year. It's going to be, March of next year, of 2023. Or the second thing is we're going to see an article on Kotaku about how Jason, what's his last name, Schreier or whatever his name is, has insider information at Bethesda Studios of how workplace habits suck ass over there. So, and then it's going to look bad either way. So it's not going to be helpful. I think it's going to be, I'm going to try and play this. I have Game Pass. I probably will by the time this comes out. Just because for me personally, it works out. And this will be a Game Pass title, but I don't know if at this time, if I didn't have Game Pass or if it wasn't a part of Game Pass, if I would go and be like, hey, I feel confident that I'm going to go buy this game. I don't think I could say that with a ton of confidence at this point. And it's because of what Steve said. 76 left a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths for Bethesda titles. It had a terrible launch.
Nasty taste.
Everything was bad about it. It didn't feel like an actual game at the time. It was just, lots of griefers were all over the place, just harassing everyone. You couldn't have that Fallout experience there like they wanted you to, because they followed, marketing rules, I guess. I don't know. But I'm also with Fish on it also. Bethesda is one of those titles or those companies that I've been playing for years upon years. Fallout 3, Fallout 4, Oblivion. I even played Elder Scrolls Morrowind back on the original Xbox. So they hold a very dear part of my gaming history. So it's hard to just be like, no, I'm not gonna play Starfield because it's gonna be a shit game, because I don't want it to be a shit game. Which, yeah. But at the same time, it's very valid criticism to say that they're not living up to their own expectations. I don't know if Starfield's going to live up to it either. It's,
I want to like it. I want it to be real. I want, you know what I mean? Like,
I want it to be good, but yeah. I don't know if it will be.
So Thomas, I think it's just, setting your expectations properly, right? I think it's what it is. It's all about now. So
yeah, exactly. Thomas, will you play this?
Sorry.
Thomas, you're muted. No.
Yeah, now that I realize it's on Game Pass, I probably will. If it's free, do it.
Well, it's included. I don't like the word free. You're already paying for it.
It's included, right?
It's included.
So what's the worst, You didn't pay a dime for the game.
True.
Yeah.
All right, so that's all we got in the news this week. So this is where we flip the script a little bit. We get away from the news and we just talk about stuff that we want to talk about, including like games we're looking forward to, play a little bit of Video Game 20 Questions a little bit later. So before we get on to that, like, comment, subscribe, follow, whatever, do the things. We appreciate it. It's always helpful. We're going to move on to a section called On Our Radar. First up, I found this game just today, actually, and I added it to my wish list because I really want my wife and I to play this. It's called KeyWe, and the concept of this is that you, is in a co-op experience, couch co-op included, even though it's on PC, you're just two little Kiwis in a little New Zealand or Australian mailbox, and it's a platforming puzzle solver that you just walk around and solve these problems, solve these puzzles. Little transmissions show up, you got to do different things, solve it in different manners and jump around, and it's just very, I saw it and I immediately was enamored with this game, so it immediately got put onto my my wish list.
Looks cool. Looks fun.
I don't know, $24.99 might be a little bit high, but especially for a studio that I don't know, but I'm gonna look more into it and see if it's good. I'll definitely pick it up for the both of us. Steve, I have yours up next. Go ahead and take it over.
Yep. Aircraft Carrier Survival. Pretty cool looking sim title here. So you obviously are controlling an aircraft carrier. It gives me a little bit of those, what was that game, Fallout Shelter vibes, because it actually goes inside of the ship here. You can see like you're kind of directing people to the mess hall, all types of stuff. So a lot of different things going on in here. I like the simulation piece probably the most, but I do like that they also have like this real time strategy game happening above the the actual carrier. So interested in giving this one a shot whenever it is released. I always love little strategy games like this.
And it looks like it doesn't have a release date yet. Nope, no release date yet.
This is from the same company behind Car Mechanic and other such titles, PC Builder Mechanic and all that good stuff. So they've got a decent reputation. Hopefully,
they got a lot of titles on here. Yeah.
Oh yeah, a little niche thing. We'll see how it goes.
Yep. Were there any titles that you've been looking forward to lately, Thomas?
I didn't get a chance to look.
Just nothing you've heard about lately that struck your interest?
Yeah, I was trying to think. There's something coming out that was. Oh, that's next month. Far Cry 6. That's.
Oh yeah.
That's on my radar.
Yeah. What about you, Fish?
You know, I'm gonna cheat a little bit. Can I say something that came out last month?
Go for it. Yeah.
You?
If it's on your radar, then yeah.
Yeah, and I've already played it, so I can give you insight. There's a little game called Rimworld, but they have a DLC. It's called Ideology, and it changes the way that the game plays. Now people have, your factions have belief systems. They can do rituals. They can do all sorts of really cool stuff. In addition to, this is one of my favorite games. I mean, of all time, I would say. I have hundreds of hours played in this. It seems simple. It seems like, hey, that looks like Prison Break assets. That's true. That's how they first came about. This game I've played since early access and stuff like that, and just watched it grow. I don't know. It's probably like one of my most recommended titles. It's really more deep than anything of this looks like, and this takes it to a whole nother level of creating belief systems and how your pawns interact with each other, how you interact with the world around you on these crazy little randomly generated maps that cause chaos all the time. So for a game that I get drawn to, replayability, everything's different, everything's randomized. Things blow up constantly. You actually learn to love these little guys, and this changes it to like a whole nother level of depth that the game didn't have before. And it seems like they keep keep changing the game on this, and it's really awesome. Plus, the community of mods on this game is fantastic as well, and it has been for a long time. So the core company, Ludian, I think it's pronounced, has done a great job supporting this game itself. But there's also a whole world of mods that change all sorts of stuff for you as well too. So I'm gonna, first time on the pod, I gotta shout out Rimworld as a really, really awesome game. You should really play it. It's fun. It's really fun. And none of you guys have played it.
Yeah, I know. It's on my Steam list of games to continue on. It's literally on my backlog to keep trying to give it a go. Because I play a very similar kind of management game called Oxygen Not Included. That's very heavily not supported, but there's a ton of mods for it that add depth to the game. And it looks like a game that I would definitely play.
Yeah, so I played Oxygen Not Included as well, and I would say that nothing against that game. It's a really good game. I think Rimworld is like 10 times better.
Oh yeah,
like and deeper, more mechanics, more all sorts of cool stuff. So
good stuff. All right, so that's it for On the Radar. We don't have a question for this week, but it is time for Video Game 20 questions. Let's go back to I'm forgetting where things are. Here we go. Boop. Oh. I forgot I had Thomas over Steve. All right, so we're gonna move Thomas over here.
TOMcast, remember?
TOMcast. That's right.
Oh, you can't see the questions that way. Yeah, there you go.
TOMcast. There we go. There we go. All right. So this week, Steve is the challenger, and since we have so many other people here, all three of us are going to be the ones trying to guess the game. So
it's not Tom because he knew.
Oh, well, except Tom. That's right. It was his recommendation. So it's really just Fish and I now.
Okay.
20 questions are not per player. It's in total. So we will, let me get the appropriately named death counter selected so that I can move this around real quick. Doop. All right, cool. All right, go ahead, Steve. Ready when you are.
Alrighty. So this futuristic game has appeared, well, is primarily associated with a single platform. That's all you get. I'll give you that as in a series as well. So this futuristic game is the first in a series of games associated with a specific platform, but not actually exclusive to that platform.
All right, and these got to be yes or no questions, Fish. I will take a leap and ask if this is a PlayStation exclusive.
It is not, no.
No. All right.
Does this company, or so does the maker of the console still make consoles?
Yes.
Okay.
So it's not the Dreamcast or Sega or anything like that. That was a good question.
Thank you.
Let's see. So next one up. Is this a Nintendo exclusive?
It is. But again,
is.
exclusive loosely because it has appeared on other stuff, but primarily associated with Nintendo.
Okay.
Did you use a standard controller to play this game? Yes. Sorry, I'm lagging out again.
You're fine.
I just gotta wipe the screen real quick.
Just wipe it off. So it's a Nintendo title. It's the first of a series. Actually, we did not confirm if it's a Nintendo title, just predominantly on the
came
Nintendo.
Out on it.
Yeah, it came out on the Nintendo.
For simplicity, we're going to call it a Nintendo title because that's what you would believe it is.
Okay. And you said it was sci-fi? Is that what you said earlier?
I said futuristic.
Futuristic. All right, so let's just start stabbing at consoles then. Did this debut on a Super Nintendo?
Yes.
Super Nintendo futuristic title. Predominantly Nintendo.
Is it a female main character in a suit of armor?
No. Good guess, though.
Right?
Is this a racing game?
Yes.
Ooh. Okay. That narrows it down a little bit. Futuristic racing game on Nintendo, but has seen, I assume, arcade releases as well.
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
Go ahead. Send it home, Fish.
I don't think I'm gonna get it.
Diddy Kong Racing.
That's a future.
Dale Earn.
It's like Planet of the Apes, right? That could work, actually. Okay, so
it was Earth all along.
Do you race a pod race? What are they called? Pod racers? What was the? Never mind.
Oh,
I don't know what they're called, man.
I don't know. Actually, I skip me.
Skip you.
Archie, you're on to something.
Is this F-Zero?
No.
No. Okay.
It's pronounced FA0.
FA0. Oh god, that's the PAL version. FA.
Yes, so F-Zero is a series of futuristic video games originally created by Nintendo, but with multiple games now having been developed by outside companies. This originally debuted on the Super NES in November of 1990. The latest release in the series was F-Zero Climax in 2004. a lot of comparisons between this game and Daytona USA as well as Wipeout, because those games all took the similar kind of
Right.
the side thing. They kind of emulate the whole 3D prior to their actually really being 3D. Very popular title, like I said, last released in 2004 though, which is kind of surprising.
Yeah.
But it is available as one of the Super Nintendo Switch Online games. So if you
Right.
ever have the fancy to get yourself back into the cockpit of the little racing pod,
I remember
Super Nintendo
Say-
Online.
I had
Wow.
F-Zero like GX.
This is
for
now we're
GameCube.
pod racing.
Yeah,
what,
we're
what is
pod
it? To-
racing.
no, or is
No,
it?
this
This
on
is pod-
Smash Brothers. Falcon kick.
Oh,
Remember that was a Falcon punch.
It's
Yeah.
working.
is that where he's from? I had no idea.
Yeah.
Yeah,
yep,
Captain
that's-
Falcon
Oh,
from
wow.
F-Zero. Yeah.
Ah,
I had no fucking idea. He's a cool character. I always like
Yeah.
Falcon Punch.
Yep.
That's a powerful ass move. I
He's got
never
a-
do
he's got
Falcon
a,
kick though, but Falcon
comic
Punch is
book
good.
series too.
Oh wow,
Oh,
Captain
Based off of the
Falcon
game.
is the F for Falcon.
No.
Falcon awesome, guys.
Falcon awesome.
Falcon Zero. Wow.
All right, so that's it for video game 20 questions.
Oh wow.
This is
Here's
where-
another quick fact.
Oh, quick fact, yes.
While there were originally only 4 F-Zero pilots in the first game, with each new title, they now have over 40 main characters. So
I believe it. Yeah.
Deep.
it's like
Deep
Mortal
character pool.
Kombat. Yeah.
There was
We gotta get into this.
There was one that came out on the GameCube. I think it was called like GX or something, and it had an arcade equivalent that you could take your GameCube memory card to, and you could
Oh,
go
that's
and
cool.
race people with like characters that you had unlocked, or save your ghost times and everything. It was pretty nifty.
That's cool.
I did that a couple times.
That's a great story. Thank you, Archie.
Anytime, buddy. I'm here for you.
Glad Archie was my teammate in guessing that. I would have never got it.
So this is just where we hang out and chill before we close down the stream and talk about what we're playing. Thomas, what have you been playing lately?
Currently, right now, I'm actually watching my son play Injustice 2.
Oh,
Ooh.
Oh yeah, but I've been back on GTA and playing Madden.
Ooh, I actually have a question about that. Madden. I saw they added the college teams back. 10 teams? Have you tried that out yet? Is it good?
I did not notice that yet.
Yeah, I
I
saw
just
a
playing
article.
computer.
Yeah, so only while we're here. So of course, Madden used to always be the NFL representation. There used to be NCAA as well. There's a big issue with that. Man, that might be like 10 years ago at this point. But
Yeah,
basically,
yeah.
they were using every fucking attribute of a player except for their name and getting by and not playing the player. So it became a big. Actually, the issue was larger than just even EA, you know. But anyway, they finally decided that they were doing it again, and they've announced that they're doing the NCAA game, but they're dipping their toes in it with Madden, and they added 10 teams. So I know Clemson was one of them. I saw the lineup, but I didn't have enough time to actually read the article, so I was curious if you had played. But I'm just curious if because the coolest thing about NCAA was that they actually did all of the fucking stadiums and the fight songs and all
Yeah.
that and the mascots.
Yeah.
So I want to know if, especially because it's EA of 2021, I want to know if they actually are going to put all the effort into it. Because that's a
Yeah.
well, I mean, they do it for the NFL, but there's just so many more schools. Oh my god, I can't.
Yeah.
I mean, I love the NCAA series, right? So 2014 was the last one. I went to a college, like a huge college football school. I went to Florida State, right? So I got to play as Florida State, and it was just awesome, right? I think Jameis Winston, it was the year they won the national championship in 2013. So the Florida State team that's really good, that's in the game, it's fun to play with. But yeah, it's, I've been missing that title. I don't play Madden anymore. I played Madden like a maniac from like, I don't know, 90 something to to 2010 maybe or something like that, and I probably haven't picked it up since. So
I think 2004 was the last Madden title I had picked up.
Yeah, I honestly I was getting them every year for a while when I had that EA Access play because then it was kind of free. But I haven't played one in probably 2 or 3 years, and I think last year was the one they brought the PC, or maybe the year before, and it was decent. But yeah, my sports watching is going fucking down so badly that I don't really have time for sports titles anymore.
Oh my.
I watched this documentary on Daryl. I'm talking NASCAR.
Dale or
Dale Hart,
Dale.
or not junior, senior. Well,
Senior.
wasn't he? He was a junior though, wasn't he?
Dale
Or
Earnhardt? No.
No, I think
because his dad was a racer. But anyway, I watched that and I was like, oh, this shit's actually pretty entertaining. And I almost bought a NASCAR game. Almost. I was pretty damn close. Dude, like when you hear about the actual drama that they have, and like I was watching the race, but I see the fun parts of the race. I'm like, oh, that's actually pretty interesting, But off topic.
No.
We're talking
No,
about
There's no
sports
such
games.
thing as off
sports
topic on
title.
this part.
Yeah.
Yeah. Check it out. NASCAR Heat
Wow.
2021.
Make it happen. What have you been
New
playing
sponsor.
lately, Fish?
So I kind of talk about how I go back to a lot of the old titles. I mean, it's not really an old title because it's been released in the last maybe 2 years, but I've been back into Crusader Kings 3. So Paradox interactive title. They have a new DLC or newish DLC coming out in a little bit of time. They had a new Lords of the North, I think, DLC pack, which makes the Viking Scottish folks a little bit more in depth of what you can do. So, those 4X, 5X type of experiences are really cool. And Crusader Kings 3 does a different take on it because it's a little role playing as well too, where you work. It's not just about gathering territory and building up and expanding things and stuff like that. It also is you're creating a legacy. It's all about your family and your inheritance and stuff like that. So you have to plan for those, like the succession of your titles and all that stuff. You can lose land just because it goes to the third son in line instead of the one that is at your actual heir and things like that. So it's pretty, it's pretty in depth. It's pretty interesting. And it has a lot of replayability because there's random events that happen that change the narrative. There's random stats for characters. There's random events. And then the AI is pretty smart. It's not the smartest AI. It never really is. But the AI is smart enough that it creates a challenge, as they capture more territory and change the way that every single game can play, basically. So,
is this a game that can go on forever, or is there at a certain point where the narrative stops?
I've never not stopped and said, okay, I think I've played this one out. Let me try a different one.
Gotcha.
There's a timeline, and I think there's a certain year that it ends, but we're talking like hundreds and hundreds of years of how it goes. So that's a good question that I don't have the answer to, but I think they can go for a long time, if not forever. So,
If you had
but if
to,
you do it long enough, you'd own every territory in the world, basically.
Gotcha. If you had to put what am I trying to say? Hours per, I guess, king. I'm guessing that's what you play as a king.
Mhm.
Crusader
Well,
Kings.
you could start as a count and then work your way up to it and stuff like that. So,
Gotcha. I guess what I'm trying to ask is like what's the time, what the hell do they call that? Like the sim rate? Like what's the sim rate like for, like, are you looking at your age? Do you die of old age? Do you die of disease? Like that kind of stuff? How's
yeah,
that work?
absolutely. So all those things can happen, right? So you can live a long life. You can play on Iron Man, and like that can
Downey Jr.?
change. You can play on like not being able to save, and then you can get sick and not have a good doctor and die, like when you're 30 or something like that. And then the things that you were building up to might not happen, or you maybe didn't have an heir to your titles, and then the game can end at that point, right? If your
Oh, wow.
name ends with you, it's over. But you can live pretty long, right? And then you do your next of kin basically takes over your titles, or loses it and you got to gain them back, and so it can go on forever. But you play each, your character can change, but then you're planning for that transition as well too, which is fun, which creates these different dynamics. And maybe you have this one awesome son or daughter that it can be the heir to your titles, but they're not in the right succession order, so you're scrambling to reach one
Kill?
milestone so you can
Okay.
change your goals or your laws, and it's all, you have to have specific things that you need to do, or you go on a murder spree of your own family. So you can play it all sorts of different ways. So
Yeah, that's
it's
what I
really
wanted to
very
know was
cool.
the,
Yeah.
so the flexibility is
Like a
there,
freedom
really.
mode.
Oh yeah. So I mean, you can be a tyrant and just steal land from your people, go to war all the time. You can play diplomatic, where you're marrying your daughters to other kings, and then you create alliances and stuff like that. So it's really, and then you actually can gain land and gain titles and stuff like that without ever having an army do it. There's all sorts of different ways to succeed at the game. So
Sounds great.
Oh,
yeah, it's
hey,
fun.
it's included with Game Pass. I'm downloading it right now.
I love it, man. It's your learning curve. You're gonna screw up that first playthrough, but then it's kind of like, I mean, like all the Paradox titles are like that. Stellaris and all their Iron. What is it? I haven't played like the Europe one, or I forget what it's called, and then Iron something else. Those ones I haven't played. Jeez, what's going on, man?
You on that bad Wi-Fi?
I'm great. I'm hardwired in, man.
I don't know. It's crazy.
Yeah,
I've been playing not a whole lot of new stuff lately. Like with school and everything kicking back in, I've just been falling back on the classics, like Oxygen Not Included. That runs pretty well on my laptop because I'm gone most days now. Oxygen Not Included. Play Final Fantasy 14 a lot on my laptop as well. Nothing major on that, just like sticking to the subclasses and everything. That game's seeing like a huge re-emergence right now. It was already doing pretty damn well, but now the player count has skyrocketed to the point where they're not allowing people to make new characters anymore until they can get the servers back. Not back, but until they can get the servers reinforced, because people are just leaving World of Warcraft like a mass exodus. I have a buddy who plays World of Warcraft Classic and also World of Warcraft, and he said that the servers that he plays on at least seem pretty. They're not empty, but they're not nearly as full as they were like 3 or 4 weeks ago. So I mean, a lot of people are leaving it because of that whole Activision shenanigans, and I don't blame them. I like Final Fantasy 14 online a lot better, anyways. So, have y'all played any of the Final Fantasy MMOs? There's like 11 was kind of bad. 14 started out bad as well. No.
No,
Nope.
not my cup of tea. I'm a Western RPG kind of guy.
Pretty fun.
Cool.
All right.
I've seen some cool stuff about it. Like, it seems like the community's good, right? I think that's what makes it.
There's I mean, you're always going to have toxic people in every community, but it's significantly less.
Except this community right here.
Yeah, except the midlife. But we're just poison. There's a whole pool of vat of just radioactive waste.
Yeah.
All right, that's it for this week in the show. Tom, you got anything you want to share before we leave?
You better come at me good next week with your video game questions. I'm gonna nail it within 5 questions.
Then five
questions, calling it out.
All right. What about you, Fish? You got anything to plug or announce or?
No, just thanks for having me on. I feel like I talked a lot, but I was so excited to be here.
That's the
Jeez.
point.
You didn't talk enough, Fish. We're gonna talk.
Oh my god, I don't know what's going on. When
You
I'm on the
didn't
ninja, it's snowing here. There we go.
It's snowing.
Oh man, what happened?
I don't know. On the ninja thing, it looks perfect, but only when we go to Discord, it's all choppy and stuff. So
That's weird.
I don't know.
All right.
Some Archie did something
to announce. Steve, anything to plug? Anything?
Sure, I'll do a plug now that we're actually released. So if you're a Microsoft Flight Simulator player, our Airbus H145 is now available for download on our website, highperformancegroup.com. Thank you.
Nice. All right.
You can Google us. It's easy.
Oh, Google it. Yep. All right. That's all from us this week. Thank y'all so much. Appreciate you. We'll see you here Tuesdays now, 7 p.m. Same midlife podcast, same midlife channel. All right. Love y'all. Peace.